Hey guys, so this is going to showcase some of the setups in my recent level. Tried so hard and got so far. And I just wanted to show off some of these setups because they were pretty cool. So the first room, pretty self-explanatory. It's just one way behind doors. You get trolled by that. There's some P blocks behind the P switches. And you just go in the door. There's also a stupid Kaiser block, if anybody managed to miss that. It's just a stupid timing thing. So if you jump over here and then it's just at the right time too. It's like a medium timing setup. So if you go fast, you'll avoid it. If you go slow, you'll avoid it. If you go at just the right time, you get hit by it. So that's kind of to screw with the player's head a little. This room also pretty self-explanatory. You got a hidden pipe here in the dark. You can't see it unless you jump right at the corner. So some people were able to see it right away. And then all that happens here is that a bomb loads in on top of a P block, and it explodes once the P switch ends. So that's all that happens. Alright, so this next room, also very self-explanatory. You got skewer behind these cannons, and you actually have a note block on tracks behind the skewer here. And wait a sec. Wait. I think maybe the note block isn't on tracks? I don't know, maybe not. Okay, well, I guess it was never on tracks. But anyway. So the skewer pops up the mushroom, and some people might think to stay right here because they see the obvious skewer hidden behind the launchers, and this is just to smite them. I mean, I could have just easily made the skewer ram up inside of them. But, no, I decided to make it worse for them by thinking that they were being smart, and then getting screwed right here, and then they were actually never smart. So, yeah. And then what they might do after that is think that they might need the mushroom here. But turns out that they don't at all either. So this is like a double control here. So how this setup works is that there's a seesaw up here, and oddly enough this is a horizontal level. So this setup right here works really well if you want to use vertical scrolling in a horizontal area. Seesaws have this weird property where if they're off screen enough, they don't actually weigh down. So it's nice to be able to scroll the screen up in a horizontal world, so that you can activate a contraption. And this basically is just a muncher and bomb that explode down here. And this slope right here is specifically for this reason, because the slope actually, if there were no slope here, then they would get hit at this point. So if they were trying to climb the vine, they would actually take damage and die. But the slope actually prevents any sort of damage, as you can see here. Hold on. So if I just decide to hold up the vine here, it just goes directly into the bomb's radius, and that's all because of this slope right here. So the next part, it's all just made. We got a nice little shiny box here, and a nice shiny coin, and an obvious stupid troll that you have no idea what's going to happen, but you're supposed to sit here and think about it for a minute while the big mushroom slowly flies away. And yeah, then there's this stupid pit troll here. Alright, so for the first checkpoint, this room took a heck of a lot of time. Alright, so what happens is, when you go into this room the first time, you'll notice that you never actually collect the flagpole. The flagpole is completely gone. And and that is because of a Magic Koopa. And I'm sure you already guessed that at this point, but this is the setup. So what happens is the Magic Koopa despawns on the blue state, on the red state, and only spawns in on the blue state. So when you come in the first time, the room is on the blue state, and then every single time you spawn from the checkpoint, it's on the red state, so that the Magic Koopa despawns and doesn't fire. So what happens is the Magic Koopa here on the blue state will fire at the flagpole, which is right here. Will fire at that block, and then this Muncher will come and push the Piranha and Magic Koopa over, so that the Magic Koopa becomes behind this one way. And oddly enough, when a large Magic Koopa is staring at a wall, it will never shoot. So you can just see that it's just kind of sitting there. Let's see if I can get a good example here. Stupid controller issues. Come on. Controller's dead, apparently. God damn it. Alright, so what happens, you can see that the Magic Koopa does not shoot at all when it's up against a wall, and that's important because when you want, because for when the Magic Koopa only needs to shoot once to take care of the goal, and then after that it cannot shoot at all, or else it'll make noise and people will get suspicious. So this Muncher is to push this Magic Koopa into the one-way gap so that it's up against the one-way and it can't shoot anymore. So that's the whole purpose of this. Yeah. So this right here is just a little troll that not many people fell for. It's more of a distraction than anything, but it's just to show, this right here is just to show you that you can go through these blue platforms, and if anybody missed that, then that's what this is for, this little hint here. And oddly enough, when you're on the blue state, the light is actually dim, so you can't actually see that one way above the checkpoint over there. So you might think, oh, I can just go right down there, but there's a one-way hidden there. So again, when the first time you come into the room, the Magic Koopa spawns, and this spike ball also spawns. And the only purpose of this spike ball is to use the beep and audience sound effects. The audience sound effects are good because you can hide what the Magic Koopa is doing at the very bottom of the screen, and the beep sound effects take care of the Magic Koopa's firing sound. So both of these combined completely hide the Magic Koopa from doing what it's doing, and nobody suspects anything, and that's how this worked so well. Now, the second time when you spawn in, you'll spawn in on the red state, and that spawns in this contraption. This contraption breaks on the blue state because you don't want it to activate on the first time going through. So the contraption will spawn when you come in on the red state, and this no longer, the sound effects no longer happen when this spawns, because it'll be spawning in on the red state, so there'll be no sound effects when you come in the second time. This is also to prevent this is also to prevent the P-switch from activating when you spawn on the CP. So if you notice, the mole, after you go past a certain point up here, the mole will activate the P-switch, the bomb, which explodes this block, pushing the Muncher up into this P-switch that would be over here eventually. And what that does is activate this contraption over here, which pushes the spike ball into the note block, which has a bomb in it, and then that bomb explodes this, which reveals the flagpole. So it's kind of complicated, but see, since this contraption only works on the red state, which is also the same state you spawn in at the checkpoint, I had to make this contraption because so that the mole can explode the bomb immediately, but not activate the P-switch immediately. So that's what this whole thing is for here. That's to give this contraption time to set up before you get to this point. Alright, so this part, so I had to, if they were to miss the checkpoint, they would come out as Fire Toad. So I have to give them this in order to take damage right here. And the whole reason for that is so that is for the ending of the level. So if they were to take the top path, they have to collect this checkpoint and then go back in order to die. And then that's when they realize with crushing despair that they need the checkpoint in order to die. So up here, we have bombs in this room. This is where the bombs blow up the blocks in this room, which is why the cannons are here. So these two bombs on tracks are just, this whole room is basically just to stall for time for these bombs. So the first time you come into this room, you'll be on the blue state because the last room is on blue state. So what happens on blue state, this thing does not spawn, and this contraption breaks. It'll be bouncing around, but there's a blue block back here that prevents the contraption from working, so it won't activate. And since it's so off screen, you can barely hear this bouncing, so that's why I left this in like that. So the second time that you come in, you'll see that this switch block is on now. So you might think that, oh, the control is going to change now that it's on the on state. And that's exactly what I want you to think. So what happens is you hit the switch and you see that muncher fall. What's happening is this contraption over here is activating. So now it's on the red state. This POW will fall down here. And then once you hit the switch, the shell will go into the POW, which kills this muncher. And the reason it's like this is because I don't want them to see this top muncher when they come out of this pipe right here. So this is the view they get when they come out of the pipe, and it's just off screen enough so that you can't actually see it happen. So once you come out of the pipe, the muncher will fall and it'll be right here, as close as it possibly can to this muncher. And then this is the muncher that will die from this POW over here. And it's all just it's all just a ruse to get you to jump up into the same place as before. So this is also pretty self-explanatory. So the first time you come in, you'll be on the blue state, so this will already be off, and the mole will just drop right down once you come over here. The switch for this is a simple screen scroll thing. So once you scroll the screen right enough, the spike ball will spawn in and you hit the switch. This seesaw right here is doing the exact same thing in this other room as this contraption was. And all it's doing is it's not weighing down because of the screen scrolling. So once you scroll the screen up in the horizontal world, it will start to weigh down, and then these springs come and bounce you up into this area. And that's all that's doing. This is just a simple clown car thing. It's also a screen scroll, so once you scroll the screen enough, it will start to move because, well, the switch is off right now, so it can't move. But, yeah, it's also another screen scrolling thing, which is useful for horizontal subworlds. Alright, so this part here is also self-explanatory. For some reason, when you have a Mecha Koopa on a gentle slope, you can't actually get through as Big Mario, but actually you can because there's some cheese, as you can see right there. Not many people found that and just kind of gave up because of the hint reveal, but they could probably find this eventually. Yeah, it's actually pretty easy to pull off, but I just figured it was probably fine. So here, if you're big, you actually you will activate this block right away. So you have to take damage there. Most people figure that out. This is a filler troll to stall for time for the P-switch. It's not really anything special. It's just, if you trust me, then you'll go for this one. And should I hit that one first? This is the troll that it's stalling time for, and it's really, I'm pretty proud of this one, actually. So what you have is a spike ball, and then you have another contraption up here that activates a switch. And the switch will blow up these bombs, which explode these coins, and instantly spawn fish from these note blocks. And that happens because you'll think, oh, this spike ball will either go right or left, so I better choose one of them. But it turns out it doesn't go. It does go one way, but there's a semi-solid, so it just stays up there, and the fish come crashing down on your head. So this right here is interesting because it's just something I found, and it's just a curiosity trove, but it worked out super well in this situation, and got a lot of people, surprisingly. So that'll block the door that you're supposed to go in. If anybody actually thought through this, there was an opportunity to get these 50 coins and survive by jumping on these fish, but nobody tried this. But if you did, you'd get stuck by hidden blocks. Just like that. So this part is extremely simple. You just have a cannon on a conveyor up here, and it's timed, so if you don't go for the checkpoint fast enough, it'll just come crashing down on your head and ruin your entire life. This is also, so you'll come into the room on the blue state, so this claw will not come down right away. So that's what this is for. This is in case somebody takes their time with the checkpoint. I don't want them seeing the claw on the same spawn as they got the checkpoint time. So that's what this is for. And this is just jank for when you have a clown car over some one-ways. It's just pure jank. So what happens is the one-ways actually prevent you from getting into the clown car. You can actually get into it if it's precise enough. So right there, I waited too long, but if I get in like right now, you can actually get in here, but there's nothing you can do. So it's just one-way clown car jank that I found, and I'm sure I'm not the only one to find it first, but you know, I just used it. All right, so this is interesting. What we have here is some very strange jank. If you have a piranha, if a parachute piranha with a spring in a one-tile gap, it can actually just clip straight through the wall. It's really bizarre. As you can see right there, it just clips directly through the wall. And that's something I found, and it's just super weird. But again, it's weird, but it's not really trolly. So this whole room is kind of fillery because it's just to stall for these bombs. So that's really all this was for. So this room is also kind of fillery because I had to make a, I had to have a door that leads to this Twice room, but it's obviously not Twice. I made it that way on purpose. It's obviously not because the P-switch was active first of all on the first time through, and also you came out of a P door and not a key door. So, despite that, people still thought it was a or the same room, and went straight for the pipe. Which is really funny. I found that very hilarious. But yeah, so what happens, this is basically just a garbage room. Honestly, I couldn't think of any good trolls to use in the dark, so I just made this stupid garbage room, and it worked out kind of well. You know, you have the classic key coins are bait thing, and then there's a key that's just hidden just off of the light, so, you know, it's kind of funny. And then you have, you know, the cannon with the fish, all that good stuff. This does absolutely nothing, it's just there for distraction. And then you can't actually get this coin, but people still tried to get all the coins after they realized they couldn't. And I found that very interesting. And then of course you got hidden blocks here that send you right into that muncher. And then, interestingly, that muncher is also just off screen enough, so it's really hard to see it. So you can just like climb directly into it on accident. And it's all just bullshit, basically. There's nothing interesting to this room at all. Alright, so the other troll in this room was just the stupid conveyor. You can't actually see the conveyor at all, which is the funny part, because you'll think to jump onto that platform, but then you just get yeeted off the edge. So that was a really stupid troll that I'm actually kind of proud of. Alright, so for this room, it gets interesting. So it's very simple. It's just Thwomp Jank on slopes. And you guys know how they Thwomps actually speed along the edge. Just like that. That's all there is to this. It's just Thwomp Jank. So Thwomp can't go anywhere at this point, and you load in on the blue state, so the bomb will explode once you hit this block. And the reason that happens is because of this, and this is also a jank setup. This is a glitch setup. So the hidden block is clipped inside of the bomb, and the next hidden block that you hit will activate the bomb. Just like that. And that's all there is to this. It is glitch tech, so this level will probably be taken down because of it, but that's what I used up here. So for people who were duck jumping, they would get sent straight back into the pipe. And I can show that here in just a moment. Just like that. It happens really fast, so I don't think people ever expected that to happen, really. So, to make sure that they come into this room on the red state, I have a thwomp here. So what happens is this switch will activate, which sends them back to the red state, so the thwomp will despawn. But if they decide to not jump and go directly into the pipe like this, then they will, then the thwomp will spawn, which ensures that they go back into this room on the red state. And this setup right here is just for when they come into this room from the key door. So the spike ball will roll left, which destroys these blocks, and then the next time they come into this room, the P-switch will activate. So no matter what happens, next time they come out, the P-switch will happen. They won't be able to enter this pipe, and the only way they can go is up here. And then they will be able to off-screen this pipe just enough by coming all the way up here to deactivate the P-switches. And at this point, they're thinking, oh crap, I screwed up. They're gonna CP1 me or something. But yeah, that doesn't happen at all. They just come into this room, the contraption activates with the mole, and the flag reveals. So this was an idea I actually had quite a while ago, and I only just implemented it, and it turned out super well. It was really, really, really hard to line up the Magic Koopa just right in the end, but it all worked out, and shoutouts to Giganti-Rex for helping me out, because he really did. He helped me out with quite a bit of stuff. Like, so what I did actually was use Entity Limit, because the Magic Koopas, when they transform things, it's RNG. But if you have Entity Limit, if you're limited out on entities, the Magic Koopa will transform it into a coin. So that's something, because if he had transformed it into, say, a ghost, that wouldn't be as good as a coin, because the coin will just evaporate, and then you can actually see the ghost on screen. So that's what the Entity Limit is for. Another thing to point out is that the Entity Limit, these Wenways are actually hidden on the More Info page, and that's because of the dark level. So the dark level actually obscures like the top and bottom parts of the level. So like right up to this point or so, and all the way up here is all obscured and dark, and the same thing for down here. So this is how I hide the one-way Entity Limit stuff.